Okay, so for the second topic, we have here the levels of organization. So in anatomy and physiology, it is concerned with the level of the individual body, what scientists called as the organism. So however, we're not going to merely focus on the whole organism itself and ignore the role of its parts. So we're going to talk about the human body as a whole and of course its parts. So the life processes of the organism are built and maintained at several physical levels, which biologists call as the level of organization. So we have here different levels of organization. First, we start off with the cells, and then fusion of cells will become tissues, and those tissues will be uh, the composition of the organs, and then organs to organ system, and of course the whole organism. So that is the level of organization. Okay, so for the cells, I will not discuss on the cells because I know that we have already discussed this in genetics, and also you have another subject for this, which is cell and molecular biology. So in order to have a recitation, I have a diagnostic quiz or review about the cells. So just click the Google Forms, the link over there. Okay, and you're going to submit it on Thursday. So organizing cells into tissues. So a tissue is an assemblage of the cells from the same origin that carry out a specific function. So kapag parehas sila ng tissue, iisa lang yung function nila. So there are different kinds of tissue and they have different functions. So we have here four types of animal tissues. The first one is connective tissue. Second is epithelial. Third is muscle. And fourth is the nervous or the nerve tissues. Okay. So for the next one, let us discuss about connective tissues. So we're going to discuss about the four types of tissues. So connective tissues, it's used for, of course, to connect, support, and bind body structures together. So it is the most abundant tissue by weight, and it is made up of cells that are spaced apart within a gel-like semi-solid or solid or fluid matrix. So what do we mean by matrix? Matrix means a material that surrounds and support cells. Okay, so for the matrix, again, it is a material that surrounds and support cells. And then, connective tissues has many functions and many forms. It is considered as the most varied of all the tissue groupings. So in some parts of the body, such as our bones, connective tissue supports the weight of other structures, which may or may not be directly connected to it. And then we have here varieties of connective tissues in terms of composition. So we have here collagenous fibers and elastic fibers. So what's the difference between collagenous and elastic? So in collagenous fibers, it is made up of collagen, this one, collagen, and bulky protein, which serves to provide structure. Next, we have here elastic fibers. It is made up of elastin and thin proteins. Elastic to provide stretching. Ayan, it serves to provide stretch. And then, we also have here the different connective tissues that are found in the human body. So the number one is areolar. Areolar is found in every part of the body. So what does it mean? So this tissue surrounds and separates structures in every part of the body. It forms a thin membrane with ample space for blood vessel to pass through. So this is composed of both collagenous and elastic fibers. Next, on number 2, we have dense regular connective tissues. So it is commonly found in our tendons and ligaments. So in dense regular connective tissue, it is characterized by tightly packed collagenous fibers arranged in parallel positions, making it very strong. So alam naman natin that tendons connect uh, bones to muscle and ligaments connect muscle to muscle. So, kailangan strong yung tissue na nandun. So, tendons and ligaments are made of dense regular connective tissue. Next, dense irregular connective tissue. It is commonly found in the dermis. So it is very similar to dense regular, but then the fibers in this tissue are disorganized, unlike doon sa regular na nakaparallel arrangement. So sa dense irregular, disorganized siya, leaving more space for blood flow. Kaya siya irregular yung tawag dito, spacing niya. Ayan. Next is adipose tissue. So in adipose tissue, it is composed of fat cells. So adipose tissue provides fuel storage and insulation as well as support and protection to its underlying structures. So adipose tissues, sometimes yung fats are called as adipose. Yan, kaya din siya tinawag na fat cells. So it is for fuel storage. Ayan. Next, we have here reticular tissue. So reticular tissue may be seen in the framework of organs such as the spleen, lymph nodes, and the liver. The spleen is located behind the stomach. Okay, and then this type of tissue uses a thinner variety of collagenous tissue. So yung reticular, more on collagenous siya. Next, we have here elastic connective tissue. So it is found at the walls of hollow organs or arteries. In elastic connective tissue, of course, elastic yung in terms of composition, it is made up of elastic fibers. In order to, tag dito, para masalan niya yung pressure, ayan, para ma-carry niya yung pressure nung arteries. Kasi we all know that when there is a blood flow, kailangan elastic yung blood vessels, especially yung arteries natin. So these are collagenous fibers bundled in parallel with bands of elastic fibers sandwiched between. So it is a combination of collagenous and elastic fibers. Ayan. This elastic tissue is strong but stretchy. So tingnan natin ngayon yung picture or illustration ng connective tissues found in the human body. Ayan. So here in the dense connective tissue, so kung makikita nyo, ito yung dense regular. So it is in parallel. Ayan, the fibers are in parallel position. While dense irregular, ayan kung makikita nyo, yung fibers ay mayroong mga spaces in order for the blood to flow easily. And then we have here adipose tissue. Diba? Ito yung tinatawag nating fat cells. Kasi kaya sila ganyan, yung malalaki yung spaces in order for it to store energy that we absorb from the nutrients, different nutrients. Next, we have here areolar tissue. So these are thin membranes. Ayan, so kung makikita nyo, maninipis yung fibers niya. While we have here the reticular tissue. In reticular tissue, it forms a net-like tissue of collagenous fibers. Ayan. So makikita nyo, ito yung mga lymphocytes. Ayan, kasi nga nakikita to sa organ na sa spleen, lymph nodes, and sa liver. And then we have here elastic. So sa elastic, meron tayo dyang corrugated lines and straight lines, kung makikita nyo, to represent elasticity of those fibers. Next, okay, so we have here epithelial tissue. So doon na tayo sa epithelial. So it forms the epidermis of the integument, so our skin. So it covers all internal organs, forms the lining of the blood vessels and hollow organs. But epithelial tissues have no blood flow. So ang blood flow, doon lang siya sa ating connective tissue. Okay? And then next, we have here the different types of epithelial tissue. So epithelial tissue comes in 8 types that are defined by the way epithelial cells are combined and shaped. So we have different types of cell or epithelial cell. So we have the squamous cell, cuboidal cell, and columnar cell. So they are named according to their shape. Pag squamous, irregular yung shape niya. Kapag cuboidal or cuboidal, so it is in cube shape. While columnar, of course, elongated or in columns. So these are the 8 types of epithelial tissue. So we have number 1, simple squamous epithelium. So ang itsura ng mga squamous, ayan siya. So irregular yung shape niya. So saan naman nakikita tong simple squamous epithelium? Okay, so it is found in the lining of the alveoli. What is the alveoli? Alveoli are the small sacs in our lungs wherein the exchange of gases happens, the exchange of oxygen and then carbon dioxide. So, simple squamous epithelium are a single layer of flat cells. This tissue functions in rapid diffusion and filtration. So, diffusion and filtration, ayun nga, it happens in the linings of the alveoli. Next, we have here the stratified squamous epithelium. So, what is the function of stratified squamous epithelium? It is found in the epidermis. So, this tissue consists of several layers of cells. So, they have deeper squamous epithelial cells on the outside with deeper layers of cuboidal or columnar epithelial cells. It's found in areas where the outer layer is subject to wear and needs to be replaced continuously. So, it is found in the epidermis. Ito yung skin natin na kailangan mag-wear out. So, napapalitan siya. Yan. Next, we have cuboidal. So, in cuboidal, so it is in cube shape, cuboidal cells. So, for the tissue, we have simple cuboidal epithelium, and it is found in glands. Okay, so in simple cuboidal, kaya siya it is found in glands because this tissue is for absorption and secretion. So, we all know that glands have the capacity to produce, to absorb, and secrete. So, saan ba yung mga glands na yon? So, the cuboidal cells have the capacity to produce and modify the glandular product. So, ano ba yon? Example is the sweat, oil, or milk. So, it's found in sweat glands, sebaceous glands to produce oil, and mammary glands, of course, to produce milk. So, doon siya makikita yung simple cuboidal epithelium. While we have here the stratified cuboidal epithelium. So, it is found, if yung simple, nakikita siya sa glands, yun namang stratified cuboidal, nakikita siya sa lining ng ducts of the glands. Doon sa mismong daanan or yung ducts na tinatawag. Okay, so in stratified cuboidal, several layers of cuboidal cells that line the ducts, it is associated with the sweat, mammary, and salivary glands. So, meaning yung cuboidal natin, cuboidal cells, which uh, composes the simple cuboidal epithelium tissue and stratified cuboidal epithelium tissue. So, they are found just in your glands. Next, we have here columnar cells. So, columnar cells composes these different types of tissues. We have the simple columnar epithelium. So, in simple columnar epithelium, it is found in the lining of digestive tract and lining of the uterine tube. Okay, simple columnar epithelium, these are elongated in one dimension. So, it looks like a column. Ayan. Uh, and then, the function is also for secretion and absorption. So this type of tissue is primarily found at the lining of the digestive tract. Ayan, kung makikita nyo sa taas, meron siyang mga hair-like structures or cilia. Kapag ciliated yung ating simple columnar epithelium, it is found in the lining of the uterine tube. Ayan. So, kailangan ng cilia kasi dun sa uterine tube para daanan siya ng egg cell pagbaba ng eggs. So, yon. Next, we have here stratified columnar epithelium. So, it is found in the conjunctiva, kulang ng N yun, conjunctiva of the eye, and the pharynx. Okay, so in stratified columnar epithelium, it is found in these are several layers of elongated cells. So they mainly act as protection in such structures, ayan nga, such as the conjunctiva of the eye and the pharynx. Next, we have pseudostratified columnar epithelium. So in pseudostratified columnar epithelium, pseudo means false. So these are single layer of columnar cells. So the tissue appears stratified or layered because the cells or nuclei don't line in a row. Ayan, so makikita nyo, hindi siya kagaya nitong simple columnar, hindi rin siya kagaya ng stratified na pantay-pantay yung nucleus ng cell. Dito kasi, very irregular ng posisyon ng nucleus. So, kaya siya tinawag na pseudo-stratified. Okay, so anong ginagawa nito? It's also for absorption and secretion. So, this type of tissue is found in the lining of testicular structures. So, as you can see, ciliated din ulit siya. So, this tissue type is commonly ciliated. Ayan, may cilia or hair-like structures. It is present in the linings also of the respiratory tract. Dun sa respiratory tract, kalimitan ciliated. Kasi in order to maintain moisture. Ayan. So, it is present in the linings of respiratory tract, functioning in a more or less identical way to the simple columnar ciliated epithelium. Okay, next. We have the last one, the last type, which is transitional epithelium. So, hindi ko nalagay kung saan siya nakikita. The tissue is found in the lining of the bladder. Ayan. So, we're having a little room to stretch is sometimes handy. So, why is it called as transitional epithelium? Because as you can see, there are different types of cells here in transitional. So, meron tayo dito sa bandang gitna, meron tayong squamous, which are irregular in size, in shape rather, while dito naman sa taas, makikita nyo yung cuboidal shape. And dito sa baba, meron namang columnar cells. Okay. So, here in transitional, so the cells of the tissue can change from one cell to another. So, sometimes, from cuboidal, ayan, so ito yung cuboidal sa taas. When relaxed, cuboidal siya kapag naka-relax, squamous siya kapag naka-stretch. Ayan, kapag kailangan pa niya ng mas stretch, of course, doon tayo sa columnar. Kaya siya tinawag na transitional. And we all know that the function of the bladder is urinary bladder is collecting urine. So, kapag meron ng urine, di ba, feeling natin yung puso natin na stretch siya or malaki siya. So, sino yung nagme-maintain nun or nagko-control nun? The tissues which are the transitional epithelium. Okay, so ayun lang. So those are uh yung nervous tissue is ang tawag natin. Muscle tissue and nervous tissue will be discussed in the muscular system, and the nervous tissue will be discussed in the nervous system. So, ang diniscuss ko lang ngayon na tissues is about the connective tissue and the epithelial tissue. So, that's all. So, after this, there will be a quiz on Monday about the tissues. Just first answer the diagnostic test about the cells, diagnostic quiz that will serve as recitation. So, yun lang. So, thank you very much. Lesson 3 will also be posted on Monday.